Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Cindy Reed, and I'm a nurse here in the Nashville area. And my co-host, Doria Stewart, is also a nurse, but she's in the Atlanta area. And we want to welcome everyone to Redox Nurse Talk tonight. This is a platform that Doria and I use to share this technology to people not only across the country, but across the world. And we actually have evidence of that tonight. We have a lady on from Hong Kong. But anyway, want to just do a few disclaimers and housekeeping rules, things like that. So this technology that you're going to see tonight does not diagnose, treat, or cure any disease. It just gives the body what it needs to take care of those issues that we have on a daily basis. And also, if you're going to be, want to keep your mics muted, we'll have a time after Laura talks. You can put a question in the chat. And if you're going to be moving a lot, you may want to close your camera so it's not distracting to the speaker. But anyway, and like I said, did the disclaimer. So I'm going to introduce Doria and let her tell a little bit about herself. And also she will do what we do, a nurse nugget. We have a little, oh, I'm actually doing the nurse nugget.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm not prepared.
My train of thought tonight. But anyway, Doria, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so thank you, Cindy. It's been such a joy to do Nurse Talk with Cindy. She's such a delight, and we're both like-minded, of course. But I am in Georgia. I'm probably about 30 miles northeast of Atlanta. I still currently work as a nurse. I've been one for 43 years, and I'm kind of trying to figure out when I'm going to retire because I love nursing and I love to educate people about their health. I love looking at people holistically, mentally, spiritually, physically, just the whole person. And so this technology was brought to me by a very dear friend who's a dentist here in the Atlanta area. And since I'm open to other forms of modalities of healing, I said, sure, I'd love to look at it. So I've been on this technology for about almost 5 years now. It'll be 5 years in June. I've had some great testimonies with myself as well. It's something I'll always be on and just have a mission to share this with as many people as I possibly can. So thank you, Cindy.
Thank you, Doria. And like I said, I'm also a nurse here in the Nashville area, and I was well, just like Doria, we're looking for something more natural, more holistic ways to deal with our health challenges. Medical care today is not what it used to be, and so you have to be your own advocate for your health. And I found that out the hard way by going to the third provider before I was correctly treated for some autoimmune challenges. So I've been on the product for about 4.5 years myself and have seen some amazing results. Sleep and energy were the first two things I noticed, and I feel like I'm aging backwards. And I turned 60 last year, and I don't feel 60. So that's always a good thing when you don't feel your age, when you actually feel younger. Um, with that, what we're going to do, I'll do the nurse nugget, and then we'll show a short video for anyone that's new that doesn't really know what this technology involves. But tonight, we're going to talk about NMN, and that is nicotinamide mononucleotide. It's a big word or a short abbreviation. So basically, the NMN supports your brain health and it helps your brain to age in a healthy way, which is what we want. It also has been stated to suppress those age-associated weight gain, enhance your energy metabolism, physical activity. It can improve your insulin sensitivity. It can improve your eye function, improve mitochondrial function and metabolism, which prevent these age-linked changes by changing the gene expression, which is amazing. So NMN is a precursor, or it actually is synthesized to NAD, which is nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. These are big words. And this is an essential part of various cell functions, including metabolism, DNA repair, cell growth, and survival. And it's found in the mitochondria of the cells, in the cell's cytoplasm, as well as the nucleus. And this is critical in regulating the cell growth, the energy metabolism, stress resistance. How many of us have stress every day? All different types of stress, whether it's emotional, physical, chemical exposures, things we're in our environment, we all have stress. It also helps with inflammation, your circadian rhythm, which is your sleep-wake cycle, and with nerve function, and that's essential with brain health. And they have discovered that decreased NAD, which is what NMN turns into, is associated with the hallmarks of aging, like everything from wrinkles to metabolic disorders to neurodegenerative disorders. And this is huge. And there are a lot of things that contain the NMN, which is what we started off talking with. And certain foods contain that. You can get it by eating avocados, cabbage, broccoli, cucumbers, mushroom, beef, fish, milk, and green vegetables, nuts, tomatoes, things like that. So, like your mother says, eat your veggies. And you're asking me, so where do you find NMN in our products? So we have something called cell performance, and we have different types of cell performance. And specifically, it's in the Redox Mine, which comes in the red packet. You just mix this in water, drink it. It tastes great. I love the cell performance products. And it helps with that cognitive function. It helps, well, works on your brain health, basically, is what we'll say. And it has been linked to increasing the telomere length in your brain, which the longer your telomeres, the longer your life. And NAD also can increase and NMN as well, can increase not only your health span, but your lifespan. And those are important factors for sure. So if you're interested, reach out to someone and try the product. I think you'll be impressed and you'll love it. So we're going to start by sharing the short video that just tells you a little bit more about the technology. And this is Alan Noble's Real Redox Results. And if you've not checked out the website, you can go there, and the password is Redox, lowercase. And there are 140 something testimonials on there, and you can search them by category. So let me share my screen and you'll see what it looks like.
Hello, my name is Alan Noble. I've been involved in the health and wellness industry for over 30 years, and I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to introduce you to a cutting-edge health technology that we call ASEA Redox. ASEA Redox represents a new category in health and wellness that for 2 decades science had declared was impossible. It could not be done. And yet today, health and medical experts around the world are calling ASEA Redox one of the single greatest health science breakthroughs of our lifetime. Now, a great place to get started is to get clear on what ASEA Redox is not. It's not a vitamin, a mineral, an antioxidant supplement. It's not an exotic juice, essential oil, or a CBD oil. Now, there's nothing wrong with any of those things. I'm just saying they're not ASEA Redox. This technology goes beyond nutrition. It goes beyond ingredients, and yet it has the power to impact your health at a depth that no other supplement has ever come close to achieving. For many people, ASEA Redox is the missing link to better health and vitality. Now, to understand this technology, you've got to realize that your body is the most complex communication network on Earth. Every second of every day, your cells are signaling and communicating critical messages for health, healing, and repair. If there's any breakdown in that signaling, you cannot achieve your full health potential. You see, this signaling impacts every system, every organ, every function of your body. You could say that if your cells can't signal, then little else matters. Now, you've probably heard it said that we live and die at the cellular level. If you want a healthy heart, have healthy heart cells. If you want healthy lungs, have healthy lung cells. Well, as science looks deeper inside your 75 trillion cells, they've discovered a very special set of molecules called redox signaling molecules. These are the molecules that you make that are absolutely foundational for healthy cell signaling throughout your body. However, here's the challenge. With age, diet, stress, toxins, we begin to make less of these redox signaling molecules. And it's about 10% decline every decade. So by age 50, you've about half the signaling that you had when you were younger. And as a result, things just don't work like they used to. You begin to see, you begin to feel the effects of aging. A simple example. Imagine your home's on fire and you call the fire department, and they're there with the big red truck, the firefighters, the fire hose. They've got everything they need to put out this fire, but what if you have a bad cell signal? They don't get the message. They don't know what the problem is, where the problem is, how serious the problem is, and your home goes up in smoke. Well, it's the same with your health. So let me ask you a very powerful question. What if? What if you could amplify and clarify this critical cell signal and empower your body to work like it's supposed to? That would be a game changer. So introducing ASEA Redox, the world's first and only cell signaling supplement powered by high energy redox signaling molecules. And since this technology is backed by 7 patents and over 1,000 trade secrets, there's no other supplement like it in the world. Now, not only is ASEA Redox a cell signaling technology, but it also signals at the profound depths of the genetic level. In an 8-week study, it was found that drinking ASEA Redox could increase 5 important gene signaling pathways by up to 31%, positively impacting 5 major areas of health: immune function, inflammatory response, cardiovascular health, digestive health, and even hormone balance. It's also been shown that ASEA Redox significantly impacts the NRF2 pathway, which is the master switch that signals the production of the most powerful antioxidants known to man, including the master antioxidant glutathione. Now, 2 separate university studies showed that ASEA Redox increases NRF2 activation by up to 60%, resulting in an increase of glutathione production by up to 55%. So although ASEA Redox is not your traditional antioxidant supplement, its impact on antioxidant health is nothing short of astonishing. Now, this is just one key on the ASEA piano. ASEA Redox is much more than an NRF2 activator or an antioxidant supplement. Remember, signaling impacts every system, every organ, every function of your body. If your cells can't signal, then little else matters. So at this point, let's hear what health and medical professionals are saying about the ASEA Redox breakthrough.
Inside every cell in your body, you're constantly producing negative and positive molecules called oxidants and reductants. And the contraction of that name is redox.
So with these molecules, we're amping up that communication. We're helping that cell signal.
Without these cell signaling molecules, we simply wouldn't do the gene replication that we need, the DNA sequencing that we need. These redox signaling molecules interact throughout the body with every cell that we know.
Every cell in our body needs these molecules for communication purposes. The more balanced they are, the more abundant they are, the healthier we are.
ASEA actually has the combination of the oxidants and the reductants that the body makes. So all we're doing with ASEA is enhancing what the body is already doing.
Having a product, a technology that's native to the body doesn't have to worry about detoxifying it because it knows exactly what to do with redox molecules. It's one of, if not the safest recommendation I ever make to a patient.
They found a way to stabilize them outside the body. And you can actually put them back into bodies that are deficient in those molecules. That's a game changer.
To have something that at its molecular level is native to the body is nothing short of a breakthrough.
This is something that's foundational for health, for every cell. It affects every cell in our body. And not just the cells, but the very DNA within those cells. You know, we talk about the discovery of DNA as being a huge breakthrough, the discovery of penicillin. Yes, these were absolutely huge discoveries. But now we have something that actually goes even deeper.
So hopefully you're beginning to see why this technology is being hailed as one of the most significant health science breakthroughs of our lifetime. It's empowering people to feel better than ever before. For many, it is the missing link to better health and vitality. And it's not just health. Athletes are experiencing improvements in endurance, strength, and recovery, beating personal bests and breaking documented world records. In a university study, mice drinking ASEA Redox for only 7 days ran 29% further to exhaustion due to significant metabolic shifts in their bodies as they started to burn more fat as fuel. And so amateur athletes all the way to Olympic athletes are enjoying the ASEA athletic advantage. Now, after another 5 years of research and development, the scientists behind ASEA Redox were able to develop Renew 28, a topical gel that is infused with these powerful high-energy redox signaling molecules. So you've probably heard it said that seeing is believing. Well, when Renew 28 is applied to the skin, it results in a healthy, clear complexion, tighter, younger looking skin, while dramatically reducing wrinkles, stretch marks, cellulite, and many other signs of aging. It also improves skin cell renewal rates and increases skin cell blood flow. We also discovered that when you apply Renew 28 to anywhere that hurts, ideally 3 applications in 5 minutes, over 90% of people notice a significant reduction in their discomfort. Now, I do want to point out that we have continued to expand our range of redox signaling products to include an intensive redox serum for those little trouble spots, and then more recently the redox clay mask, combining our redox signaling gel with an ultra pure bentonite clay. And so headed up by the big blue bottle, this is our cell signaling product division. However, we have 4 product divisions in total. We offer a very clean and effective skincare system called Renew Advanced, high-quality bioavailable nutritionals called ASEA Via, and more recently, fun functional beverages called Cell Performance that address fatigue, brain fog, stress, as well as a vegan amino acid formula that helps your body build its own valuable collagen. Now, of course, the purpose of this video was to introduce you to our remarkable cell signaling technology. Now, we have other videos and websites that go a lot deeper into this health science breakthrough. But for now, I would encourage you to explore some of the other videos on this website. This is where you're going to hear how this technology has impacted people's lives. And some of these stories are absolutely astonishing. Real people sharing real redox results. So this is Alan Noble thanking you for your time today, and bye for now.
I love how our company provides the tools that we need just to share this technology. We don't have to know, we don't have to explain it. We just use a tool. It makes it very simple. And that way we're all on the same page as well. So we have an awesome guest tonight, Laura Zentmaier, and I'm going to turn it over to Doria to let her introduce Laura, and then we'll hear her testimony.
Sounds
Doria?
wonderful. So I do want, as we start here, at the end of our interview with Laura, or as we're interviewing her, if you have any questions, just put those in the chat, and Cindy will kind of keep note of those and ask those at the end after Laura, shares with us. So Laura lives in New Hampshire. She's married with 2 daughters. She's a graduate of Dartmouth, I guess is how you say it, college. She's a former 4th grade teacher. She's a vice president of a music company, and she's a certified health coach and a student at Regenerative Health. So I've had the great pleasure of knowing Laura probably about 4 years, and she's just a delight and full of energy here. So Laura, I want you to take us back before ASEA crossed your path. What was going on in your life at that time?
That would be back in 2016. And hello, everybody. And thank you for allowing me to join in the fun tonight. So in 2016, I was a mess. Basically, my routine was wake up, get the kids off to school, and then go on a quest to try to find some healthcare provider who could find some solutions for me. And honestly, I just wanted to be a better mom. I just wanted to be more of a participant in my kids' lives rather than someone on the sidelines. And I had been dealing with a challenge for 9 years. It was a scary skin situation where I would get these misshapen moles all over my body that were big and multiple colors to them. And so my reality was every single 3 months, go to the hospital and they would take really big chunks of my body out because they had to get the margins. They had to go wide, they had to go deep. And so I just kind of, that was the way I tried to be proactive. And every 3 months, there was always something. So that was going on. There were a lot of issues. So Tuesdays, that was acupuncture day. Wednesday was cranial sacral day and foot reflexology. And Fridays was a double appointment with chiropractors. And just, there's a doctor nearly every single day. And luckily, one doctor said, hey, I got this stuff and I don't like how it tastes and it's about to expire and I don't know if it works. but something's telling me you might want to give it a try. And he said the theory was, he wasn't sure if he subscribed to it yet. The theory was that it helped your cells work better. And I'm like, well, I'm full of these cells that need some help. So I gave it a try. And, not everybody feels something right away with the drink, but I sure did. I was like, whoo, I had, better posture already. I was sleeping better. I had more energy. And I thought I was a nicer mom. Like I was able to play with my kids. And that's really all I wanted. And, but really good things happened beyond that. 1 month into it, I learned all my allergies were gone. I was so allergic to so many things, but the deadliest thing was chocolate. And so if there was somebody eating a cookie rooms away from me, my throat would close up. And that not only impacted my life and my family's life, but the whole community. I was the president of my kids' PTA at school. And one time I walked into the elementary school and I had an anaphylactic reaction because somebody, we didn't know who, we didn't know where, but somebody was having a cookie and my throat closed up. And the principal was like, well, that's it. There's a ban on chocolate. So it was entirely my fault that 300 kids could not have chocolate from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock on weekdays. The whole town knew about it. And I was PTA president for so many years. It was like a whole era where there was just like no chocolate for Grantham, New Hampshire. And there were signs like where I would get my hair cut. There was a sign saying, if Laura Zentmaier is in the building, no chocolate allowed. Because one time, I don't really remember this, but everybody else does. I nearly became unconscious because some kind person had brought in some apparently delicious chocolate treat. And I just, I was out for the count. And so I just kind of figured, that was a lifetime thing. And I figured, okay, just constantly be vigilant. And, but 1 month after having the ASEA, I walked into Walmart and it was Easter time. And I knew, okay, stay like 3 aisles away from the candy section because you could kind of smell the chocolate through the wrappers. And they tricked me. They had these chocolate Easter bunnies out and about in the different aisles. And all of a sudden, I'm face to face with a stack of bunnies. And I'm like, what is going on here? I am breathing. My tongue is not fat. I am not polka dotted. I was just trying to process this. It was so confusing. And I must have looked really funny in Walmart because I just stayed there for minutes. And I leaned over and I smelled the bunny and I was still okay. And I'm like, what is going on? That was the first time I ever bought chocolate for my kids. And I could eat it myself too. And then we all got fat because we would go out to restaurants and I'd be like, oh, let's make up for lost time here. Let's get every single dessert on the menu. And that was, the whole community was celebrating. There were 2 really nice restaurants who had said, hey, Laura, anytime you show up, we won't let anybody here have chocolate. And gosh, that I would see that disappoint so many people because, somebody at a table across the restaurant, I would see them looking at the menu and looking excited, and they talked to the waiter, and the waiter would just sadly shake their head and then point over at me, and everybody was sad. So no more of that. We were pigging out and really enjoying it. And so that was good. And then things got better still. I went to the hospital 2 months after starting the ASEA, thinking, okay, it's time for surgery. There's got to be some body part on me that's going to not be with me on the way home. And they couldn't find anything to biopsy. They looked and they looked, and they even called in a doctor from the hallway and they said, we need another pair of eyeballs in here because there's got to be something on her. And this really is a life and death situation. I've been good ever since. And then what's fun is, so now instead of every 3 months having surgery, I go for a yearly checkup. I know I'm fine. It's never scary for me to go in. It's just like a reunion with the people who used to cut into me. But the new people who are in the room, they're looking at my really fat file and they're like, where are your scars? Because I used to be covered head to toe with scars. And now I challenge anybody to try to find them. They're pretty much not there. So that's another testimonial. And then I don't need any medication. I was on thyroid medication for 29 years. And I don't need anything. I'm 56, no medication needed at all. And then another thing was I used to have issues with my knees. My kneecaps would keep dislocating. I'm built like an alien. They would fall out of the socket if my legs straightened, they'd just fall out. So I'd have to sleep with pillows, stacked up around my knees. I've had 5 knee operations. My husband was convinced I would be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life, starting at age 35. And I'm good. Every now and then my right knee feels a little something, but pretty much every weekend I'm hiking the mountains of New Hampshire. I'm not in a wheelchair. My knees are happy. And those are pretty much my personal stories. I got a ton about my family and my pets, but
Yeah, I think it's amazing that you were that sensitive to chocolate. I mean, I too had some. I couldn't have chocolate Easter bunnies when I was growing up. Only white Easter bunnies. That's all I could have. But I mean, I had the same thing. But I wasn't highly allergic. And what a blessing that was. What an honor that was for those people to. I mean, you live in a small town, and they honor you and they respect you, and for them not to, I mean, in a restaurant, I mean, for them to say, they can't serve chocolate. So I can imagine with you having this great testimony, you've been able to go back and kind of share your story with some of those people about this technology, correct?
it's
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. Yeah, we've got a good crowd up here who use it.
Yeah, yeah. We have to make that disclaimer. I'm just going to plug it back in there, is that, SIA redox is not intended to treat, diagnose, or cure any, health condition. But, it's a biohack, it's a bioreplenishment, a way to, put, like Dr. Michael said, we have a way to put this back into our body since we're so diminished of those things. Tell us about so these great testimonies are phenomenal about what happened to you, but I know you have some beloved pets that have also experienced this redox, and we know with them it's not a placebo. With others, could they say, oh, that's what that is, but animals are pretty trustworthy.
Well, okay, I could talk about so many different animals. And that's another thing. I used to be allergic to cats. My plan was to be a veterinarian. And I went to Dartmouth. I was taking all these science classes. I was going to be a vet. And then I became allergic to cats. I'm like, okay, I need a plan B here. I have 0 allergies. My kids have 3 cats now. But for my animals, well, they're all on redox. And but some of the ones that people like to hear about, they like to hear about my dog, Otto. So he, the first thing he did was he broke his leg. And I don't know how he did it, but his leg was broken and I scooped him up. He's a 96-pound dog, brought him to the vet. She's like, oh, we need to do surgery right now. And this is going to be a complicated one. It's going to cost between $8,000 and $13,000. And I'm leaning closer to the $13,000 because this looks pretty complex. And by the way, be prepared. We're probably going to amputate. And I was like, that just didn't resonate with me. I brought him home. And that was when I was first getting involved with the ASEA. I didn't understand the science behind it at all, but I knew I was feeling better. And it didn't even occur to me to give him the drink at that point. I just used the gel and I just put the goo all over his leg for a while. 1 month later, he's good. He's jumping around and I'm friends with the vet. So I just stopped by and I'm like, look at my dog. And you would never know that he had broken his leg. And she's like, that's a miracle. And I'm like, I think the miracle is called redox signaling molecules. And she's like, no, nothing can work that good. This is just a medical miracle. And so we agreed to disagree. But then the following year, he stopped eating. I brought him to the vets. They did a test. When she saw the results, she then did an emergency ultrasound and confirmed that he had stage 4 abnormal cells and of the liver and the spleen. And she wanted to put him down. And she said, he's not going to live more than 2 hours anyway. This is the kind thing to do. And was trying to persuade me. But again, I was like, no. And I brought him home. And that time I gave him the drink. And it was funny because he looked at me with the same sort of skepticism that a person might look at me and like, really, salt water? You want me to drink this? And I gave him a bowl and I'm just like, listen, buddy, it's non-negotiable. If you are thirsty, this is what you're having. And it was so interesting because he he took a little lick of it, and then it's like he knew, his body knew that this is what he wanted, and he had the whole 32 ounces right there. And I gave him a whole bottle every single day for a week, and he seemed better. So then I tapered down. I gave him a half a bottle every day for a week. And then I just kind of gave it to him when I thought of, oh, I guess he should have some more. And exactly 1 month later, I took him back to the vet. And I said, I want another blood test. And she couldn't believe that he was alive and seemingly thriving. We did the blood test. His blood work was absolutely normal. And I carry that blood work with me. I have it laminated to show people. Here's some empirical evidence. You can see the 3 columns, one where things are too low, one where they should be, and one where things are too high. And the first one, it's not in the middle column for the most part. And then the second one, 1 month later, is perfect. And so I just love it. And as you said, animals don't know anything about placebos, and it's empirical evidence. And now that vet, she's a very good client of mine. And so that's one animal story. People also like the rat testimonial. Do you want to hear that one?
Sure, I've never heard of it before.
You've never heard of that one. Okay. So we have pet chickens, and the chickens, of course, are on ASEA too, and they are ancient. But I've got chicken stories, but the rat story is funnier. So rats moved into the chicken coop. My husband did not like that. And he's like, we got to do something about this situation here. And he wanted to put out rat poison. And I don't want to hurt anything. I don't want to disrupt the food chain. I'm expressive with my face. And he's like, listen, maybe they're carrying disease. Maybe they're going to hurt the chickens. Maybe they're going to look to the left and decide they'd rather live in our house instead of the chicken coop. And he's like, I'm doing this, but for your peace of mind, why don't you just forget that we've had this conversation? How about you just think that when they go away, they've migrated to the neighbor's house, which is a lovely home. And so that's what I chose to believe. I thought, okay, they just migrated. And but one of them didn't. One of them, days later, it was lying on the floor of the chicken coop, and it was paralyzed. And my daughter went out there to feed the chickens, and she saw this rat, and the rat looked at her. Still couldn't move, but she says it looked at her. And so she came in, and she's furious at me, not my husband, at me. And she accuses me of being a rat murderer. And she's like, I demand that you go save that rat's life. Then my other kid is on the computer, and she's just like, that rat's a goner. It's doomed. Rat poison is designed to poison. And, but I go out, pick up the rat, I bring it in, and we're always saving all sorts of animals. They just kind of show up on my doorstep. But this one, it was my husband's fault. So anyway, okay. So I bring it in, and what I do is I take a Q-tip and I saturate it with some ASEA, and then I put some drips by the rat's mouth, and it was receptive. Some of it went in, and its nose twitched a little bit, and it took in some ASEA. And then I'm like, all right, let's get the gel. And I know, okay, we don't make any claims that this is a cure or treatment, but holy cow, do we have great testimonials about this detoxing and pulling heavy metals, pulling all sorts of things out of people and animals. And I coated this rat with an entire tube of gel, and I put it in a great big cage. We have always got cages laying around just in case somebody needs some help. And I went to bed. And I was just like, I don't know if this thing's going to live through the night, but I got up and it was standing. And it was wobbly, but it was standing. And I'm like, okay. And then my kid gets out the little videotape, and I put some more goo on. Well, within 4 days, this rat is perfect. It could be in a rat circus. I'd said that it could be like if there's a rat Cirque du Soleil, this thing was so coordinated, jumping up on these perches and pirouetting. And then I was like, oh, maybe we should have a pet rat. And my husband's like, get that thing out of here. So we drove like 5 miles, and we let it scamper out of the cage. And then I showed the video to like Maureen Hayes and Masami and Terry, and all 3 of them were like, don't tell anybody this story. They're just going to think you are completely nuts. Here you are investing, your product and your time into taking care of this thing that your husband's trying to murder. And, but I shared it with some people, and then some doctor's like, hey, do you have any video? And he blended the little bit of video I had with me telling the story. And I got a phone call from someone in Texas who said that rat saved my dog's life because she had been to the vet. Her dog was almost dead. I think they spent about $700. Dog was still almost dead. And then that video inspired her to try the ASEA. Dog was just made a full recovery. And so I am glad that I shared that, although I would not have been in my pajamas had I known that anybody would ever see this thing. And now it's funny because Maureen Hayes will be like, go see Laura Zentmaier's rat video, because she knows it's just a great testimonial. Animals don't know anything about placebos. It was pretty incredible. So
that's incredible. I mean, first of all, the bravery of even touching the rat. I mean, honestly,
I was paralyzed. It's not going to do anything to me. And then once, and I'm like, I saved it, so it liked me. So it was my little buddy. Oh, and then the funny thing, here's a funny thing. So somebody who speaks French liked the video and redubbed it in French. And then apparently that one went viral. So.
Awesome. It's amazing. Well, I love this story because, I mean, animals have cells just like people have cells. And so we know, it's going to work on cells. And so that's just a beautiful testimony, of it that working, on that. I'm just so excited that you have the courage and the boldness, to do that, for sure. So, Laura, I want you to share with us a little bit about, so we know that this was a breakthrough, when this first came to, 13 years ago, 14 years ago, we know it's the distribution model is through next level marketing. And it's because they discovered a breakthrough, and it was the only way to, like sharing what we're doing tonight is sharing stories, just like you're doing this evening. And it's a way to communicate and tell people about this product. But tell us a little bit about the culture of the company, because I know you just recently went out to Utah, and I got to see out there as well. And you toured the plant and got to meet some of the, the executives. So just share with us a little bit about the culture and what that's meant to you.
Well, it's just like a family. I love going to those events, and even if there's somebody that I've never met before, I still feel it's kind of like a family reunion with like a new relative, and it's just these people, they've become some of my best friends. We're all on a mission. We're doing this just because we want to be a force for good in the world. And we're providing, it's just incredible, the people that we're helping with their health, and then sometimes financially. And actually, I felt guilty in the beginning when I started getting paid. The only reason I didn't know what a next level marketing, I didn't know what any of that was. But when I was enrolling, there was a promotion, and it just made sense to be an associate. I didn't plan on telling anybody about this, but it just made sense for me to do it that way economically. But then, my abnormal cell situation, that went away. Thyroid situation, fine. No more allergies, all these good things. I also happened to save my dad's life and all these other things. And my dad was just like, I'm really grateful, but people are going to think you're crazy if you're, it sounds too good to be true. Sounds like snake oil, and nobody wants you selling them anything. And he asked me to kind of be quiet about it. And now he knows. Now he went from being a skeptic to the very best advocate in the world. But in the beginning, he was like, what you getting into? But I couldn't help it. How could you keep this knowledge to yourself? If you think that this could help somebody, why not speak up and just say, hey, back then I didn't understand the science. And so if somebody would come to me and they would just be complaining and they'd be like, well, I guess, I'm old. My doctor says this, I'm just going to have to deal with this, or here's a whole potpourri of pharmaceutical things that are clearly going to have side effects. And back then I didn't understand the science, and I just knew that it helped me and my family. And I said, well, I don't know if this is going to work for you, but it does involve cells, makes your cells work better and heal faster. And whatever you have going on, it involves cells. And I know there's a money back guarantee. And I know it definitely can't hurt you. I know it's completely non-toxic. Maybe, but honestly, I don't care. I don't care if you try it, but I just kind of feel like you should know about it. They would get better. Everybody got better. It was crazy. And then Masami Handloff, she, one of the greatest people in the world. I don't think geography is really one of her strengths, but she's like, Laura, you're on the East Coast and there's something happening in North Carolina. So of course that's going to be easy for you to go to. You have to go to. And I'm like, okay, fine. And I went and I got to talk to some of the leaders at the tippity top of the company. And wow, they're just amazing. And I remember it was Danny Robinson's husband. I was talking to him. First of all, he introduced himself as I'm Denny's husband. I'm like, well, who's Denny? And he just laughed so hard because she's the number 2 income earner of the whole company. And I said, I kind of feel guilty. I'm getting paid on Thursdays. I'm just sharing good news. Like, I don't really think anybody needs to pay me for this. And he's like, don't you know that every nickel that you earn, it represents somebody that you've helped and sometimes even saved. So I kind of like that now. And so we basically, we have a job. It really makes a difference. And that's just so important to us.
Yeah.
We're all on a mission. We're all here to help each other. And it's so fun.
Yeah.
So fun.
So you've been successful. I remember having a conversation with you in Nashville. We were on our route to the Grand Ole Opry because our company had bought out the Grand
Again, we
Ole
have
Opry.
fun with this company.
We do. And I remember, I think it was about 4 years ago, we were sitting together on the bus and you weren't working at the time, and I talk about, what kind of what drove you. I know it's really about sharing this this gift of hope that we have, but the conversation that we had about what your husband was talking to you about. Do you remember that?
I don't remember exactly that conversation on the bus, but I can certainly imagine what I was saying. And it was probably that he was not also supportive of this thing that I was doing. He knew that the product worked. I mean, it was saving people left and right. Not that we can make any claims, but he didn't understand the business model. And to me, I was not treating it as a career. I was treating it like a hobby. It was something fun that I enjoyed doing, but I wasn't, consistently doing this every day. So that was a little source of discomfort between the two of us. Otherwise, like perfect marriage, that little thing really bothered him. And but it got to the point last year where he was like, listen, this just isn't right here. We've got a kid in medical school, we've got another kid in college, we have all these bills. He's like, it's not fair that he was contributing more. And in me, I'm just like, okay, money or saving lives, money or saving lives. Well, I want to save lives. And so we had a conversation and I did not like it. I did not like what he was saying to me, but it was a gift, what he was saying to me. Because it was the motivating factor that made me say, all right, fine, I'm going to treat this like a business and I am going to do this. This is my job. I'm going to help people live younger, longer. And I'm so glad we had that conversation because it's really propelled me in the company. And I've just become a huge influence of people all over the world, actually. I mean, somebody in Switzerland told me today, hey, I know someone in Germany, they're going to be giving you a call. Like, it's really fun to think of all these people that you're helping, and sometimes you don't even know them. And one time it was fun. I live in New Hampshire. I was visiting Maine for a day. I was in a restaurant. There was somebody from Massachusetts who was up in Maine for the day, and they heard my name, and they came over to the table and they're like, Laura Zentmaier? And I'm like, yeah. And they said, Laura Zentmaier from ASEA. And I'm like, yeah. And she said, thank you for saving my life. I had never met her. She had been dealing with a stage 4 abnormal cells with her lungs, but she was the downline of a downline of a downline. And I try to know all my people, but not everybody gets introduced to me. But she knew who I was, and she thanked me for saving her life. And like, how cool is that? What a great job we have.
Yeah, I love that. As nurses, and Cindy can attest to this too, we got into nursing because we wanted to help people. And in 43 years of nursing, I might have helped some people, that had fear when they had, surgery or something like that, and eased their mind, or they had peace about that. But, I just, like you, Laura, I just know that I can help more people with this. And I'm much more passionate about sharing this because it does make a difference. And unfortunately, well, I shouldn't probably go there, but a lot of our healthcare that we see nowadays is more about sick care and not really about health care. So I'm just so thankful that that our founders, and if whoever's on the call is with us your first time, please get your whoever invited you to this, to listen to the Genesis story, because it's heartfelt. And we wouldn't be sitting here today if our founder of our company decided to take, I call it, a very big check, and then we wouldn't be on this Zoom. So thankfully, he realized that this was something that could help a lot of people, and he wasn't willing to sell the rights or the patents or those trade secrets to them. So I'm thankful for that. So I think that's all I have to say. I know Cindy might have some questions for you. And then Cindy, if there's anybody in the chat has questions, we'll go ahead and let you state those.
I don't have any questions for once. I think y'all covered everything pretty much. Excuse me. I love Laura's energy. Excuse me. I think I need my ASEA. Lou did put in the chat, she was asking for the rat video, and I think Teresa put it in there for the link. That's cute. I want to check that out myself. But Laura, we appreciate that. That was an awesome testimony. And like I said, your energy. So how soon, I will ask this, how soon after you started the product did you decide this is something you did want to share?
It was when I went to the event that Masami made me go to in North Carolina. And I started the product in February of 2016. That event was in June. And they say, big decisions are made at big events. And it was a weekend I will always remember. And then I sat at this table. There were maybe 30 of us the night before this Super Saturday. And we just went around and everybody shared part of their story. I think I remember everybody there, and I remember all their stories. How could you forget these amazing stories? I knew I had a purpose then.
There is one more question. What propelled you after your husband's conversion? Or maybe they meant to say what propelled your husband. So your husband came on board with you, I'm assuming.
Oh, well, now that I'm making more money, and I've won him a trip to Puerto Rico, I think he's happier these days.
He's on board. Let's see.
But I did work at it. It was so frustrating to me. I get such joy from helping these people. And I remember one day I'd help like 5 people, and I'm in the kitchen and I'm just so happy. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I like this guy who could barely walk. His knee felt fantastic after I gave him some gel. And I'm just so happy. And I wanted to tell my husband about it. And he was like, yeah, well, what did you do for us? How did you help us? Because I understand where he's coming from. He's like, we need to pay some bills. What'd you get? $7.50 from selling that? And I'm like, you know what? I'm not done getting paid from that, from meeting that person. And it's true. People that I've met in 2016, they're still on auto ship. So when somebody says, like, how much for that transaction? I'm not done getting paid from that person. But I do remember, I remember when he, maybe 3 months, I told him, I'm just like, give me to my birthday. Give me, like, just leave me alone. Just stay out of my way for a few months. I'm going to prove to you that this is going to work. And he'd come in and he'd be like, I heard that the library is looking for librarians. And I was just like, well, if that's your dream, if that's what you really want to do, I support you in that. He's like, no, I'm thinking of it for you. Not that there's anything against librarians, but that's not me. And then I remember another time when I was full of such joy because I knew I made a profound impact in the trajectory of somebody's health. But I still wasn't making that much money at the time. And I was smiling, and he's like, what you smiling at? And I'm like, you know what? You just have to think that you're married to the mafia. You're not allowed to ask me about my business until you can express joy and gratitude and share in my passion for this. You're just not allowed to get all the details. And so that was a rule, which was kind of sad because there were so many things I wanted to share with him at the time. But now he can hear all my stories, and it's good.
It's awesome.
Yes.
Norm did ask, when's the big New Hampshire meeting so they don't have to drive to North Carolina? Norm's in Connecticut, I believe.
We'll figure it out. I love doing things in the fall because of fall foliage, but people talk about it. Maureen came up a couple of years ago. Terry Latham is said that it could be fun. Figure it out.
It would be fun. It'd be beautiful. That's all I have. Does anyone else have questions to put in the chat? If not, Dory, I will turn it back over to you.
All right. So thank you. This has just been, I just love your energy. You're just such a delight. I mean, you just irradiate such a, well, joy is what you have, and just joy in sharing this wonderful gift that we have. You talk about your knee and your dog's leg. Structurally, we know that redox is not going to fix any, that, but we know it's a degree of inflammation that is happening at those sites there that helps the mobility, with the knee joint. So I always let people, know that, because I know that I hurt my back. I was supposed to have back surgery, and I wasn't going to have back surgery, but, upping my dose of the redox made a huge difference. And I know it's from the degree of inflammation at that site. And I no longer have any issues with discomfort and have increased mobility. So I always just like to stress that part of it. But the Tourette lab study is another study that if people are new on here tonight, I would encourage you to, get back to the person that invited you on this so that you could see that, because it upregulates, the inflammatory response to the, our vascular system, to immune response. So it has some other wonderful, things that it does. But so I'm going to end tonight. So I'm just thank you so much for being with us this evening. I do have a couple things to say. Cindy and I will be on Redox 5 on Friday night. So we invite you to that to join us. And then next Tuesday, we have another wonderful guest, Robin Bradford. She's been with the ASEA Redox for a very, very long time, has an excellent testimony too on inflammation, especially when you see her pictures and see the comparison with that. And again, if you're new to this video or this Zoom call tonight, please get back to the person that invited you to it, and so they can answer more questions for you. So thank you.
It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Laura. Let me go ahead and stop the recording.
Thank you, Laura. Blessings, everyone.